This week, 1,500 young representatives from all 192 countries on Earth gathered to discuss politics, health, media and more, presided over by the likes of Desmond Tutu, Kofi Annan and Bob Geldof. Well, now BBC World News reports on the proceedings. One young world.
Hello, welcome from London to a summit that plans quite simply to change the world. Hundreds of delegates have arrived from more than 100 countries to form a new global movement. They all have one thing in common: they're 25 years old or younger, and the new movement is called One Young World. They reckon that the leaders of the present have messed things up for the people who will inherit it in a few years' time, and they want to change the me generation of today to the we generation of tomorrow.
At One Young World, they're discussing a lot of the big issues that matter to this generation, from their faith, international finance, politics, health, the power of the media. There's an awful lot to cover in just 2 days. But they have some old hands to help them, no less than 3 Nobel laureates: Kofi Annan, Muhammad Yunus, Desmond Tutu, and that angry young man, Bob Geldof. He's still angry.
They're billed as the leaders of tomorrow, and the first test of their true grit was a riverboat trip on the River Thames on a biting winter night on the eve of the conference.
This one is the most beautiful flag from Venezuela, my friend.
On board, young people from around the world mingled. There was no shortage of enthusiasm.
This conference will make a change because everyone out there is listening to the young leaders of tomorrow.
It's just amazing how many very talented, how many outstanding young people that One Young World has been able to gather together, and it's just breathtaking.
I have already made friends with people from Nigeria, from France, from Lebanon, so it's very exciting.
A few miles upriver, with the snow falling, everyone was keen to get the traditional photo call over with as soon as possible.
This will be our first shot, okay?
Inside, there was a warm welcome awaiting from Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
I want to salute you, for you are a fantastic bunch of human beings. You dream, dream.
But Bob Geldof, veteran of campaigning causes, brought the delegates down to earth with a bump.
I'm going to ask you over the next 2 or 3 days to be completely unreasonable people. Now, we don't know what way this world is going to shape up at the beginning of this century. God knows. I hope for something other than the murderous century, my century, that we just left.
Ladies and gentlemen, the One Young World Summit will be starting in 5 minutes.
The next morning, nearly 1,000 20-somethings turned up at the conference centre, ready to buckle down to some hard work. Would they be unreasonable? How could they not be, after they were lectured by Bob Geldof?
The delegates here believe that they're the ones who are going to be picking up the tab for abuses on the environment over many long years. What surprise would it be then that the first summit of the day, the first meeting from all of them gathered from all over the world, would be to call for action on environmental protection. For each session, VIP guests or councillors were on the stage, but their role was mainly to listen and learn after introducing younger delegates.
I want to thank the delegates for the great perspectives that they provided here. Sorry about my bad hair day.
That's why I was given to introduce you.
This is about justice, climate justice. We cannot keep discounting the welfare of future generations for our own present.
We often think that a small action might be insignificant, but these very small actions make a big impact. let's not forget that every single drop is what makes up an ocean.
I am sure that as a Chinese delegate here, that my fellow American delegates, Canadian delegates, French delegates, they're all willing to sacrifice a little bit of their development, a little bit of their well-being, just to make sure that we still live in this world, and there is a world for us to live in.
It's not a global deal that is going to save this planet. It's the concrete action taking on each gas power plant, each coal power plant, each fossil car that has to be done something about. And that, I believe, is what we as young people can do.
So press 1 for agree, 2 for disagree, and 3 to abstain.
After each debate, a vote is taken live in the hall using electronic handsets and online. This one called for governments to do more to cut carbon emissions.
Fantastic, we have our first ever One Young World resolution.
The plan is to pass One Young World's agenda for change onto world leaders. So it was handy to have a former UN Secretary General on hand to give his reaction. And here, coming to the stage now, Kofi Annan, being applauded by people ultimately who want his job. They want to move from the audience to the stage.
You are not satisfied with the leadership my generation has given you so far. And you're going to do better. And I think you should. From what I have seen in this room and what I have heard this morning, I have every hope that you will do better than my generation has done. And you must also remember that leaders, good leaders, are also good followers. If they don't lead, you should make them follow. Yeah. You can make them follow by raising your voices, making such a noise that they cannot ignore you.
Outside the conference hall, in a networking area, perhaps the most important business was going on. Friendships formed and contacts exchanged. I caught up with 2 of the contributors to the environment debate.
I'm Adrian from Hong Kong, China, and I'm 16, turning 17 soon.
Now, you say 16. Adrian's just given me a business card. He's one of the few 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds in the world with a business card. It's amazing.
Yes, thank you for that compliment.
It is a compliment. And Parker?
Yeah, I'm Parker Liotta. I am 15, so yeah.
Do you have a business card?
No, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
You need to catch up.
I need to catch up. Yeah, I guess people my age should be having business cards.
You've got a plan. What is it?
I'm doing an expedition to the geographic North Pole. Hopefully, if I complete it, I'll become the youngest person in history to have done that. The main idea is it's part of an initiative to inspire, inform, and engage young people in a real dialogue on environmental issues facing the polar regions. That's sort of the main idea. And this is going to be done mainly through social networking. So we're going to have a sort of microsite, and all our communications for the expedition and beyond are going to be pushed through Facebook, Twitter. We're going to have a Google Earth layer, so you can scroll into the Arctic and see our expedition.
And living in Hong Kong as you do people tell me sometimes the smog is overpowering?
Yes, it definitely is.
And do you think as a young Hong Kong Chinese man, boy, a young person, 15-year-old, is that something that motivates you? You see the smog, you breathe the smog, you want to do something about the smog?
Yes, definitely. Well, I've been also involved in some campaigns in Hong Kong where we have declarations that young people actually will stand for a greener lifestyle. And I think that that's something that we all have to fight.
It's interesting that they've chosen media as one of their big issues. It's all about identity and power. But what is media for them? Is it radio, television, newspapers, or Twitter and Facebook? And what about power? Can it really change their world?
Global media is now dominated by 5 giant firms, and the ability to craft, control, and filter the news for mass distribution is now the domain of only a select few corporations who effectively influence public opinion.
All of us gathered here today are so passionate about issues that affect us, not only in our local communities, but also